Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel, The Audible Review. As a thoughtful learner, have you ever studied for hours, maybe felt totally on top of the material,
Well,
only to have all that carefully highlighted info just vanish
mm.
right when you needed it most? It's so frustrating.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. And according to the cognitive scientists behind the work in Make It Stick, which we're diving into today, that frustration, it's actually, well, it's a signal.
A signal.
Yeah. This deep dive really confirms that the old way, the idea that learning is just about repetition, like drilling things over and over,
Yeah.
it's kind of flawed. Our mission today is really to get into the psychology of memory so we can all learn smarter, make sure knowledge actually sticks around.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. If repetition isn't the key, what is? What's the fundamental shift we need to make?
Well, the big one, the core finding really, is that retrieval beats repetition.
Mm-mm.
Pretty much every time. Most of us fall back on passive review, right? Rereading notes, highlighting.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, me too. It feels productive, but the research shows it leads to pretty shallow learning. Your brain needs a bit of friction. What really cements a memory is retrieval practice. That means actively pulling information out of your head.
Pulling it out, like forcing yourself to remember.
Exactly, like closing the book and trying to summarize the key points, or using flashcards, or even just, self-testing.
But wait a second. My gut feeling is that if I'm struggling to remember something, that means I haven't learned it properly yet. It feels like failing almost.
Yeah.
How does that friction, that uncomfortable effort, actually help? Seems backward.
But that feeling, that very strong, that's precisely the point. The researchers actually have a name for it: desirable difficulty.
Desirable difficulty.
Okay. Yeah. Think about it this way. Easy learning often means shallow learning. If your brain doesn't have to work hard to find a connection or retrieve some data, it hasn't really strengthened that pathway. It's less like just looking at a map and more like actually, paving a new road in your brain. The effort you put into remembering is the work that smooths and cements that pathway for later.
I see. So if it feels a bit like a mental workout.
That's probably a good sign. It means you're doing that difficult, desirable work that leads to real long-term learning.
Growth. Okay, that clicks and immediately makes me think about cramming for exams. We've all done it.
Oh yeah, the all-nighter.
Exactly. Cramming feels like the definition of easy, shallow learning, right? You get the short-term boost, maybe pass the test.
But then it's gone a week later.
Right. So these strategies built around desirable difficulty, they must be the opposite of cramming. You mentioned spacing and interleaving.
That's right. Spacing is pretty straightforward. It just means spreading out your study or practice sessions over time, days, weeks. You allow yourself to forget a little bit in between. Then when you come back to it, the effort needed to retrieve that slightly faded information actually strengthens the memory much more than if you just reviewed it immediately.
Okay, that makes sense. Let the memory fade a bit, then work to bring it back. What about interleaving? That sounds more complex.
It is a bit counterintuitive, yeah.
Yeah.
Interleaving means instead of drilling one skill or topic over and over, like doing 20 identical algebra problems, you should mix different concepts or problem types within the same study session.
So instead of just algebra, I'd mix in some geometry problems, maybe some statistics too, all in the same hour.
Exactly. It definitely feels harder because your brain can't just settle into one groove. It constantly has to ask, okay, what kind of problem is this one? What strategy do I need now? That forces you to make distinctions, to really understand the underlying principles, not just follow a pattern.
And that extra cognitive effort.
That's the desirable difficulty again. It leads to much better long-term retention and, crucially, the ability to apply the knowledge in new situations.
Okay, so retrieval practice, spacing, interleaving, they all involve this element of struggle, of desirable difficulty, which brings up errors. What happens when you try to retrieve something and you get it wrong?
Yeah, that's key. The sources are really clear on this. Making errors is not just okay, it's actually the engine of learning.
The engine of learning. Wow.
We have to sort of embrace mistakes. Learning isn't about getting everything right the first time. It's about progress through correction. Every time you guess wrong during retrieval, and then you find the right answer, your brain refines its understanding. It builds stronger, more accurate connections. Mistakes pinpoint what you don't know, which is incredibly valuable.
That's a huge shift in perspective. So what does all this mean for, for you listening right now, the thoughtful, lifelong learner? I think the personal impact here is realizing that struggle isn't a sign you're failing or you're not smart enough. It's It's part of how effective learning actually works. It's necessary.
Absolutely. It's a reassurance, really.
Yeah.
And maybe one final strategy to layer on top of all this is reflection. After you've done some learning, spend some time retrieving or interleaving, just take a moment, pause, ask yourself, what worked, what didn't? How does this new stuff connect to what I already know?
Ah, like synthesizing it.
Exactly. That step helps turn that raw information, which might still be a bit temporary, into genuine, lasting understanding, connecting the dots yourself.
Makes sense. Powerful stuff. Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel.